Damn, the screen went down there. I'm gonna have to edit that out. That sucks. I was hoping we would get through the whole session without the screen tear. I guess we took too long. I think maybe it's like an hour. The most we can film on OBS with this particular game without it lowering the screen like it did right there. So I'm gonna have to edit that out. If you don't see it, it's because I have already edited it. Oh yeah, this seems like an appropriate room to read Harry's memo here. You'll see what I mean. Got the cards. Eye of Night. Found this in the chapel. Is this a real tarot card though? Moon tarot card. Found this in the archives. I don't think an especially good card. Hangman tarot card. This was in that mortgage place. It's such a pitiful card. Mortgage. I've never heard anyone use that term before. Oh, we got Otherworld Lost to read too. Let's read that first. A big old book I got from Vincent in the archives. Vincent is the real one, right? He's probably the realest guy in the whole Silent Hill series, next to Harry, probably. Because like I say, Harry's relatively simple-minded. He just wants to save Cheryl. Vincent's unpleasant, but he says a lot. That's true. Everyone does look after themselves, you know? A lot of people don't like to get all hot and sweaty, as Heather said. They do like to have other people do their own work. I mean, you'd prefer to have other people do your work instead. You know, he's aside from the religious stuff, he's pretty much a normal guy, isn't he? He's a little twisted. He's a bit sick of his sense of humor, but for all intents and purposes, I think he's probably as normal a guy as you can find in Silent Hill, the town. Because most of what he says is actually true. You know, he's not lying to Heather at all. That is the truth about both him and human beings. And she gets that smug look on her face, looking also superior. But he's right. Like, she really is no better than him in some respects, you know? Claudia's a villain. Claudia sucks, but he's just a regular dude trying to survive in this religion that they've created. Like, he's not all that unusual, different from any other person. This magic square with strong protective and dispelling properties is called the Verum 7 Crest or Seal of Metatron. I always wonder when they say square when it's obviously a circle. Why do they say square? It will bring results regardless of whether the target is good or evil. Its strength therefore places a very high burden on the caster. And it is also not difficult to control. As it is also difficult to control, it is not usually used. This is why it bears the name Metatron, after the angel... No, Metraton? After the angel Metatron, or Metraton, also known as the agent of God. Let's read that again. Okay, so it's the seal of Metraton. But it can be both. I wonder what those things are. You see there, like, is that expelling the demons or whatever? Those squares right there? So this is important because that's the spell Alessa was using in the first game. To kind of wipe everything out and hopefully take down the god. That's why Vincent thinks she can use this, but obviously it has no use. Because unfortunately Vince forgot he's dealing with Heather, not Alessa, so that's not gonna work. Alessa could probably get it to work. I don't think Heather has a clue how to use that thing. Claudia even refers to it later as a piece of junk, but I think if it were Alessa, she could use it. Heather just has no clue how to use it. As always, this should be normalized, so... That makes me wonder, like, I guess now Heather remembers everything, because before, she didn't really seem aware of her past, so how would she say, as always, this should be normalized? To my dear daughter, hope this will never come to any use. Maybe it's better if you never know. More than anything else, I fear the possibility of you going far from me. But sometimes we have to tell the truth. That's why I'm writing this before I'm lost in death and oblivion. See, Harry's rather poetic for an average guy. He's a writer, obviously. That's why I think Dahlia might have manipulated him by using some of his religious knowledge against him, because he doesn't seem, even though he is an ordinary average dude in some respects, he's also more knowledgeable about certain things than the average person, as writers usually are. So, some writers at least. What happened back then, that has something to do with who you are. It all started 24 years ago. Coming back for a vacation, my wife and I found a baby on the side of the highway. Since we were childless, we thank God for letting us meet this child, this girl. We took her home. 3 years later, my wife died, and another 4 years later, 17 years ago, I came to Silent Hill. I heard the girl's pleas and took her with me, not knowing why she wanted us to go there. And it was there that the girl went away. Not that she actually went anywhere, don't let she die. Return to her original self, that's what Dahlia Gillespie said. Original self, that was a young woman burned by her mother as a sacrifice to God, Alessa Gillespie. Half her soul escaped in those flames and went on to live in the baby of that girl of mine, of ours. 7 years passed before that half a girl returned to Silent Hill and made Alessa whole again. Newly strengthened, she vowed to kill God. That's quite a term there, Harry. I don't think anyone's ever used half a girl in all of human existence. God, a fetus nested into the sacrificial girl's womb, was summoned with the usual rites. This was Alessa's wish, no matter what the outcome, even if her own existence were at stake. How does Harry even know the usual rites? But that wish was not granted. My interruption meant she prayed instead for the girl's return. I alone couldn't bring her back. Dahlia did it. I only helped at the birthing ceremony to bring God out of Alessa. The newly born God wailed once and was dead. All from that girl's and probably Alessa's conscious resistance. This actually calls into question what happened at the end of Silent Hill 1, because Heather said that Harry killed the God. You know, it wasn't much of a God if it could be killed by one person, by a human being. But then Harry says it was dead on arrival. It basically died as soon as it was born. Kind of like the Demon and Demonic Toys. If you ever seen that film, it's not a good film, but it's also not a terrible one either. It's weird, but they're trying to birth a demon there, and you see in the flashback that it dies instantly as soon as it's born. That's why they try to bury it. So it sounds like Harry didn't actually kill the God. Like, he didn't actually fight it with his rifle and shotgun. It sounds like Alessa killed the God herself, which calls into question the narrative he told Heather, because, or what Heather knew. So who's right? Like, is Harry not giving himself enough credit, or did does Heather kind of misremember the events of what happened there? Who's actually right on this one? Did Alessa kill that God, or did Harry kill the God? Which one is it? That's not the end. After God had vanished in a glow of light, Alessa reappeared and gave me a baby. She looked a lot like that girl so long ago. And then Alessa was gone, dead. There was nothing I could have done to help. I simply clutched the baby to my chest and ran off. The whole thing felt like a dream, but I had proof that it wasn't. That girl was nowhere to be found, and in my arms the baby. Now 17 years have passed. It feels like only yesterday, and again it feels like a million years ago. I confess I had reservations at first about raising that baby. Could I love her? Her existence was thoroughly unexplainable. I thought she could be that young woman who snatched away my beloved daughter. That led to sadness, anger. There were times when I put my hands around her tiny little throat. Several times I even considered abandoning her. That's what a terrible person I am. But I decided to raise her after all. I just couldn't seem to let her go. When you look at me, you laugh so. Even now, I can't forget about that girl. But I love you. I have no doubts about that. That's all I ask you to believe. To my precious daughter, Harry Mason. Yeah, see, that's why I kind of thought Harry sucked at first. Because he's still living kind of a delusion. Like, it's not that girl. It's the same person over and over. You know this already. You read everything you found in Silent Hill 1. Dahlia told you it was reincarnation. It's still the same person. Alessa, Cheryl, Heather. There's no difference. They're the same exact person, just reborn. You didn't lose your daughter because your daughter was always alive back in Silent Hill. That was what you had, was a part of her. You didn't lose anything. You still got your daughter back, you dumb asshole. That's the way I used to think. But now I realize he just loves Cheryl so much that, you know, he started to blame Alessa, even though it was obviously Dahlia. Like, if you're going to blame someone, blame Dahlia and the church. Don't blame the girl that was innocent and all, had nothing to do with it. Like, get off your freaking high horse, man. But at the same time, yeah, it's that whole love he had for I keep saying Cheddar for some reason, Cheryl and Heather. It's that love he had for Cheryl blinding him. So I've come to appreciate him more, and that he's not a perfect dad. And you know, he's right. In some respects, he is a terrible human being. He admits it, you know. It's not like James, where it takes him a whole journey of fighting monsters and interacting with weirdos in the town to get him to admit he's a terrible person, you know. It takes work to have James admit his crimes. But Harry admits it outright, so he is better than James in some respects. You know, he is a terrible person in some ways, but he's also a good person in other ways, you know. Um, I read this Supergirl fic recently. Stay with me, I'm going somewhere with this. I read a Supergirl fanfic. It's actually very, very excellently written. I'd recommend it. It's from a... I forget the author's name, but it has Dreams. She has Dreams in her username, her pen name. And I think the story is called something like, But in Wonderland We All Went Mad, referencing Alice in Wonderland. I think she changed it eventually to just Wonderland. But Alex, Supergirl's sister, has a quote in there that I think actually applies to a lot of real life and fictional scenarios. She tells Kara at one point, she tells her at one point of someone they're investigating, I don't believe people are wholly good or wholly evil. And that's a very important quote to take in because, yeah, there are some people who are purely evil like Dahlia. And obviously many real life politicians are absolute scumbags, you know. Many real life church leaders, religious folk are absolute scumbags. But there are people out there who don't fall squarely into one camp or the other. They're not wholly good and they're not wholly evil. They're somewhere in between. And I think Harry is somewhere in between. He's not the picture perfect angel dad that allowed the fandom worships, you know. They conveniently ignore his little memo here, his confession about how he almost killed Heather when she was a baby. Just because he thought she was Alessa. Even though Alessa was the victim in all this. Like, she's the greatest victim in all of Silent Hill. It's her and then Lisa. So they ignore that part conveniently because they don't like how it messes with their image of him as this picture perfect super dad. But he's also not the monster I thought he was after I read that memo when I first played Silent Hill. Like, even though I was only a teenager back then, when I first played Silent Hill 3, this game, and I read that memo, in my mind, I was like, Harry, you piece of shit. You fucking piece of shit. You're garbage, man. You suck. You're an asshole. You're a monster. That's what I thought back then. And that's how I wrote my fanfics before I revised them a bit. You know, to make him out to be a monster, because that's what he's saying he is. But I wasn't parsing between the lines. I wasn't realizing that it's not really maliciousness driving him, it's desperation. He desperately wanted Cheryl back, and he can't accept that Cheryl was only part of Alessa. That had Alessa survived, it would have been his responsibility to take her home and raise her, even though she was a teenager, as his own daughter, because that was his daughter. He can't accept that. You know, he can accept many things, but that concept is a bit too much for him. He couldn't accept it. And so that turned into resentment. And because Dahlia's not there, you know, she got the fate she deserved. She thought her God was going to usher in this new world and burn everything away, and instead it just killed her because it sensed what she was immediately. Like, I don't think that was Alessa ordering it to kill Dahlia. I think the God killed Dahlia willingly because it realized what she was. She wasn't a true servant. She wasn't some faithful follower. She was just a power-hungry maniac, so it just killed her. It gave her exactly what she deserved, but because Dahlia's not there, and Kaufman's not there, and the other cult members are dead, it basically leaves Harry with no one to blame but Alessa, who's now in this helpless form as I was about to say Cheryl, but as Heather. So yeah, it took me a long time, years in fact, to understand that it's not maliciousness driving him, it's resentment, and that resentment is born out of desperation. You know, he's in some way he's still desperate to get back Cheryl, which he never got. And that leads him to ignore stuff that conveniently messes with his narrative of Alessa taking away Cheryl. Because Alessa is Cheryl and she is Heather. It's the same person over, just reborn in 3 different forms. So Alessa was his daughter. And had she survived, it would have been his responsibility to take her home and actually give her a proper home. Even if she was a teenager, you know, finish raising her until she was 18 or 20 or whatever. But anyway, that's my part in it. Like, I've grown to appreciate Harry more over the years, because I see he's not a monster like I thought he was, but he's also not the picture perfect saint of a dad that much of the fandom thinks he is. He is just a regular, common, normal human guy who has his bad side and his good side, and depending on the circumstances, he can be pulled one way or another. That's who he is. It's like Anakin Skywalker, you know. I know Anakin's not an ordinary guy, but depending on the circumstances, he can be really evil, he can be really great, and it depends on where fate pulls him. And thankfully for Harry, he did not strangle Heather. as a baby and abandoned her corpse somewhere. Because if he had, the Order would have found someone else to have that god. The god probably gets reborn and Earth probably ends. So thank God for everyone in the Silent Hill universe that Harry did not strangle Heather, because if he had, they would probably all be in a heap of serious trouble. Just a picture here, but it's not my style at all. Yeah, if he had, I think they're probably fucked. Especially if you consider the fact that Walter goes on to try to summon that same god in Silent Hill 4. So, who knows how he would have changed his scheme if he sensed something was up. Like, there could have been terrible repercussions, not just for Harry, but for the world if he had killed Heather as an infant. Because then the Order would sense it. They would sense that she was dead. First they try to get revenge, and if they can't kill him, they go on to choose another sacrifice for the god. It probably gets born properly this time, and that's pretty much the end of Earth as we know it. So thank goodness for everyone in this universe that Harry did not kill Heather, because I probably would not have ended up well. Not at all. 24 years ago, Mutt, Dahlia used me to summon God. God was in my womb, but I couldn't deliver her. No shit, you're a 7-year-old girl. Dahlia didn't quite think that out. Then I was shut up here in this hospital room. I stayed here until Dad helped me. I was almost 14. God, quotation marks, ate away from me from within, driving me mad with suffering. There I was, wishing I could just die and be done with it. But I went on living that nightmare for 7 years. That's scary to think about, because if you realize that the youngest age when a woman can actually give birth and not suffer serious, terrible damage to her body is around early teens. So if Dahlia had waited until Alyssa was 14 to pull that ritual, she probably does give birth to the god, and the world probably does end. So Dahlia screwed up and accidentally saved everyone by not waiting that long. Even if she did fuck over and torture her own daughter, even that actually preserved the world just a little bit. Because had Alyssa birthed the god at 14, that's probably it. The world probably ends right there. Looking at this bed just reminds me of those awful days, and I don't want to remember them because I'm not Alyssa anymore. But Alyssa's still me. I'm not really trying to deny it or anything. I just don't want to remember. Get me out of here. Yeah, if you think about it, there's many ways things could have gone wrong in the Silent Hill universe, and the world could have ended at any time. You know, if the god is birthed successfully in the first game, the world ends. If Dahlia waits until Alyssa's 14 to try that crap, the world ends. And like I said, now that I think about it, if Harry does strangle Heather as a baby and dump her on the side of the road or somewhere, and the Order finds out, the world probably ends, because they'd immediately go on to find someone else. They probably carry out the ritual successfully and the world ends. So there's a lot of stuff that could have gone wrong, and the world would have ended right there. Got the Fool tarot card. Remember that well from Persona 3. The protagonist is always the fool, which doesn't mean stupid. It means empty yet full of infinite possibility. That's how Igor describes it. Empty but full of infinite possibilities. So you're a fool because you're ignorant, because you haven't yet amassed the knowledge that you can amass, not because you're stupid. That's an important distinction. This book, I feel like I have to read it, but at the same time I don't want to. That's the god telling her not to read it, because it knows what's coming. Aglophotis. Red liquid or crystals resembling blood. According to the Kabbalah, the name is taken from an herb with the power to dispel evil spirits. It is said to grow in Arabian deserts. It may be vaporized or applied as a poultice to guard against demons. It is powerful, but as it is rare, it is extremely difficult to obtain. That explains how Kaufman had it. Kaufman had money, so he probably, unless the herb also grows in the Silent Hill region, which I think it doesn't. Because remember, the plant they harvest is to make the drugs they sell to the tourists. It's not for anything else. It can give you hallucinations, but it's not its primary purpose. I think the red liquid is something different. That explains probably why Kaufman was able to get his hands on it. He has money, so he just imported it over from some part of Arabia, some part in the Middle East, and Harry probably had to go to a lot of effort to track down even a tiny little bit of it. Looks like there's some kind of drug here. There's just a name on the label, no description or anything. Is too risky. Never mind. Seems like Heather was tempted to take it there for a little bit. I wonder if she... Oh, fuck me, is this guy. God damn it. Freaking trash bag man. Let's knock him down. You fool. I wonder how many times Heather thinks throughout the game that suicide might be an answer to her problem. Probably at least a few dozen, right? She has to know that she has to consider ending her own life as a solution to her issues, right? Only problem is it wouldn't work, because if she did try to kill herself, this bastard would immediately bring her back and revive her. We've seen it do it in certain scenes. When you die in certain sections of the game, he pulls you away to revive you. So it's not going to end. You know, she could take that shotgun, put it to her head, blow her whole skull off, and this guy would probably still find a way to revive her in the game. This guy right here. Because he's not going to let it go until either God is born or something else happened that God is no longer viable. Like if Heather actively rejects it. Let's kill this dude too. Just to make sure we have enough for that 75 kill count. I severely underestimated the time I would need for this. I thought I'd only need like an hour and a half. Hell no, we're on 2 hours at this point because of all my rambling or explaining the lore. I'm explaining the lore of the games to you. But yeah, I severely underestimated the amount of time I need for this. I think I might just say fuck it and start Alan Wake 2 tomorrow, because I really want to play Alan Wake 2. I really playing all of this Control makes me want to question, makes me want to take a look at where it all started, the lore of that universe and all that stuff. And also I want to play it because I want to see what led to Alan making this dumb decision that I know he makes near the end of the game. I know he makes it. I've been spoiled on the game a little. I know he does this. And it makes me want to play the game just so I can get to the end and figure out why he makes this dumbass decision that he does at the end. I'm not going to spoil it for you, whatever it is, but I'm just... When I heard of what he did, I was like, why the fuck would you do that near the end of the game? So hopefully playing that game lets me understand why he chose to do that. If it was desperation, if he was being pursued by some type of monsters or monster and had no choice, like why he would just do that knowing what was in that place where he was heading to. So that's one question I have, which Control doesn't answer, because the DLC for Control, I haven't played it yet, but the AEWE DLC, I haven't played it yet, but I know it doesn't answer why he did it. It just shows the repercussions of what he did. So it's a picture of me when I was 7. I look bored and sad. Well, of course I do. I was always like that back then. It's a nice picture for some PS2 era textures. Yeah, Team Silent knew how to get the best out of the PS2, didn't they? They do some fine texture work on the faces. Photos in the game, they don't look Photoshop, except for like that one in Harry's house. That's him and Heather, and that's totally Photoshopped, and it looks terrible. But other than that, they do some fine texture work. Oh shit, they're back. They respawned. Where's the classroom? Let's take this vest off. We're running slow as hell. Let's take this damn vest off. Where's the classroom? I want to find the classroom where Heather damn, I keep pressing select to okay, so we did that. We explored that area. Did we pick up a key or not? We did. Okay, there it is. I keep pressing select. I keep forgetting we're playing Silent Hill. Select is the map button for the Actually, it's not the map button for control. That's the up button on the D-pad. So, what game have I been playing that has select as the map button? I think it's a Resident Evil. No, because Resident Evil 4 is the it's the center pad on the PS5 controller. So what game have I been playing that is the select button for the map? I've got no clue. It's not control. It's not control. Because like I said, control is the up on the D-pad. So which is it? Alright, let's take this crappy elevator back to the church area. Even though this whole building is a church. I wonder how big it is in real life, like in the normal reality or like the Misty world. I wonder how big this church actually is. Because Vincent boasts that he built it with the power of money later on, so it must be a pretty huge church. Even if it is like a mainly underground chapel, it must be huge. If he can boast that he built it with the power of money, it sounds like it's not just some random old little church. It sounds like it's a huge church. And like I said, I'm guessing he didn't build it fully, he expanded it. Because Heather says she used to come there when she was a little girl as Alessa. But that was way before Vincent was ever in charge of the cult, of the order, so he must have expanded it way beyond its original confines. I'm guessing it was just a small little church at first, and then he just expanded into like this huge cathedral. Because they obviously lived there too. It seems like it's some sort of commune for some of them, like Claudia. Not all of them, but some of them. So it must be this gigantic chapel. And here's something that nearly gave me a heart attack the first time I saw it. Oh no, not this one. The room over here. I ruined that, didn't I? But it's not. No, it's not that room. It's this room. No, it's still not this one. God, where the hell is the damn room? Let's see. Here it is. Here it is. Oh, I just noticed there's some flaming blood over here. I never noticed this before. Look at that. It's becoming more hellish with every minute we spend here. This is what creeped me out. This fucking nightmare gauntlet. Hell no. Hell freaking no. Oh shit, this is kind of new. It was not this detailed in the original PS3 version. Like, holy shit, it's flaming. Like the PS3 version just has blood squealing all over the line here, over the walls. It doesn't have... Holy shit, we are in fucking hell. That is, did they add this for the PC port? Or is it some type of restored work? Or is that Konami just added it when they did this? Because that is not in the PS2 version. Hell no. Oh, we got another fat man. We need, oh, we still got stun gun batteries. We can still kill him. Yeah, that is nightmarish right there. I did not know it was that way. Not at all. Here you go, fatty. Oh, he's leaking from one of the sores on his stomach. You see it right near his abdomen? He looks so sad. He can't even get off any offense. He's just too slow and fat. Oh shit, there's another one. I knew I saw a scraper there. I was wondering where it went. He just disappeared for like a moment. But no, there he is right there. See if we can get him. Yeah, fuck you. Piece of shit. Yeah, those guys are armed with knives. So they're obviously Claudia's... They're obviously Claudia's minions. Remember, she uses a knife too, which will become important later on. This guy's just deflated like a basketball. Or a football. Like when they let out the air. Nothing important here. It's not that I'm not concerned, but I choose not to be right now. If I fretted over every damn thing, I will have serious mental overload. Yeah, Heather's gonna be scarred for life. Need a good psychiatrist or psychologist. Too bad there's no psychiatrist or psychologist who can possibly treat this. You know, they don't exist. There's no supernatural survivor groups. There's no Doc Samson in this reality that could help her out, because that's where everyone goes to in Marvel. Doc Samson. He's a superhuman himself. So you can tell him any weird thing that happened involving aliens, ghosts, robots, demons, possession, and he'll just believe it after doing a careful background search, because he knows what the universe is capable of. Unfortunately, I don't think there's anyone like that in the Silent Hill universe. You just gotta keep all that stuff hidden and not tell anyone, or else he'll drag you to a mental institution. Not that there are mental institutions left nowadays, only like a few left in the whole US, but they might still take some action against you. It's a handout with our classroom resolutions written on it. Doesn't say anything about abandoning your friends or scribbling on the desk. Yeah, these kids were scumbags too. Can't open the locked door. I know most kids, not all of them, most kids are little monsters when they're school-aged children. I know people say not to be too hard on them, but as a victim of bullying myself, and it scarred me in ways that I don't even understand quite myself. I'm sure a lot of my rage and hatred at the world comes from my childhood bullying. As someone who has been heavily scarred by it, I can tell you that bullies are monsters. I don't care what young they are. There is no excuse for a 5-year-old, 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, or 15-year-old to be bullying anyone. I am not a fan of hitting kids as discipline, when it's parents and stuff. I find that physical abuse, based on everything I've read, only makes the situation worse most of the time. But when it comes to actual bullies who are literally threatening you in the classroom, at school, and physically harming you, like, they deserve whatever you get. Like, if Alessa had chosen to use her power to just wipe out all these little bastards here, I would not have blamed her one bit, because that's what I probably would have done in her position. I probably, once I realized I had some power like that, I would have just lashed out at the world like Carrie and just caused massive destruction. The fact that Alessa didn't do that, even as a little girl with precarious control over her abilities, is to her credit. Because if it were me in her place, I would have wiped all these little bastards out. I feel no sympathy for them whatsoever. Like, I don't care how young you are or how old you are. If you're a bully, you're a monster. That's my view on it. You can be born human, in my opinion, but you lose your humanity through your actions. And if you start to bully other people at that young age and you never snap yourself out of there, I don't care what they say, you're not human, in my opinion. That's the problem with a lot of politicians, a lot of religious leaders, a lot of, influential people nowadays. They never grow out of that bullying phase. That's all they know, how to bully and torment others. And so to me, they're not human, not at all. They may look like a human, they may wear the face of a human being, but they are not human beings. You can lose your humanity totally by your own actions. Hitler lost his humanity. Stalin lost his humanity. Countless mob bosses, countless killers over the years have lost their humanity. So yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, if you're a bully, I don't care if you're a bully at that age. I don't care if you're a bully when you're a teenager. If you're a bully at that age, you're a monster, and you deserve whatever happens to you. If something horrible happens to you and you end up paralyzed, or hell, you get your neck broken or something because the victim actually dares to fight back, you totally deserve that. I don't care what your age is. Go home, drop dead, thief. This used to be Alessa's. I mean, this was my desk once upon a time. Can you imagine also if Heather had assumed Alessa's identity fully at the end of this, and she comes across some classmates who are some old classmates of her, and they try to apologize for what they did here. Oh boy, I think you'd be opening up a whole destructive scenario right there, because that does happen in real life. I've read it on Quora, and I've read personal accounts of people who they were tormented mercilessly by bullies when they were young. Years later, they run across them at either a job they have, or a restaurant they're working at, or going to, or some club, or a high school reunion, or middle school reunion, whatever. Like, they come across that person, and the other person either don't recognize them, or they do, and they pretend not to be the same monster who bullied them as a young kid. And some people forgive them, more power to them, but some people do choose to take revenge at that moment, and I applaud the ones who do, because until you face the consequences of your actions, you don't learn anything. So I've heard a couple of people say, oh, that was a long time ago, you have to let it go. But no, because if you let it go and you don't teach bullies the consequences of their actions, they go on to bully other people. So they go to college and they bully people in fraternities and sororities. They go to the workplace and they bully people at jobs. They go to the military and they bully people as commanders. They go into politics and they bully millions of people by stripping them of their rights. So like, no, you can't forgive them. Unless the person literally gets down on their hands and knees and begs for your forgiveness and shows that they understand what they did wrong, you owe them no forgiveness whatsoever. And I don't buy that bullshit line, oh, you're doing it for yourself, not for the other person. No, if I were really doing it for myself, if I came across one of those bastards who bullied me when I was young, I'd take a freaking chair and just smash it across his face. I don't care if it killed him. I don't care if it broke his freaking neck. I just hit him with a fucking steel chair. Because, dude, you almost killed me when I was a freaking preteen. I'm not going to forgive you that, you miserable fuck. I could have lost my hearing because of you. I could have had any number of things happen to me because of you. I'm expected to forgive you? Hell no. You're going to feel some pain. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you have a family. I don't care what reason. Unless you get down on your hands and knees and you beg me to forgive this, I ain't forgiving. You beg me to forgive you, I ain't forgiving shit. I am gonna attack you. If you are one of those bullies who tormented me when I was young, I will attack you on sight. And I feel like one thing I wrote, I am a fanfic writer, I admit that, and I use an adult version of Alessa in my fics because I like the idea of her surviving the first game. But there's actually one story I've thought of thinking, one story I've thought of writing. What would happen if an adult Alessa comes across the people who bullied her when she was young? And my only conclusion is nothing good. Nothing good is going to happen from that. There's a radio notebook on the podium. Oops. And there's a letter stuck in here too. Let's see. There's a girl named Alessa in my class. If your memory is any good, you may remember her. She's the one I said they call a witch. Most likely her mother is abusing her. I've never seen her come in without some sort of scrape or bruise. Her expression is pitifully dark for a 6-year-old. Something like this may not be so uncommon. Rather than coming up with pointless ideas, it's best to just watch and wait. But isn't there something I can do to help? I'm considering consulting a lawyer, but I do have my reservations. That's why I thought I'd ask you, my friend, for your opinion first. Kay Gordon. This is also messed up too, because Kay Gordon, whoever she was, or whoever they were, tried to get her help. Honestly, she should have just gotten her out of there and out of her mother's home and ran away somewhere, but she tried to get her help. She reported it to the police, and you find it in Silent Hill Origins that you find out in Silent Hill Origins that they did report it to the police, but because the police were bribed off by Michael Kaufman and Dahlia, they basically did nothing and they called the case closed and said, oh, it was just Alessa imagining things. Dahlia was a perfectly upstanding, fine religious member of the community. Keep in mind, this is the same Dahlia who, along with Kaufman, orchestrated the death of the mayor and the police chief. So, yeah, fine, upstanding community member, my ass. She was a monster. But unfortunately, money speaks louder than words, so... This is a picture of a wolf. It looks like a dog, but it says wolf and everything, so... And I bet you it was Claudia Wolf who drew that. Oh shit, this is another room that scared me when I was young. Holy shit, there's nothing good in there. Got 4 scrapers, the world's collapsing on itself, and we got very little health. We cannot go in that room. Hell no, we cannot go in that room. People always talk about how scary Silent Hill 2 is. Oh, Silent Hill 2 was terrifying. It's the scariest game in my life. Scariest game I ever played. Boy, like, this game has some rooms that put Silent Hill 2 to shame. Like, no room in Silent Hill 2 almost gave me a heart attack like this game did with its sewer room. There's 3 specific. The room in the sewers. The room, you saw that in the earlier videos. You know, where it's, you walk into the sewer and there's like 8 monsters there. All at once. The room in the sewers. The room in the, back at the beginning of the church, the one that starts to fall apart, and there's blood on the walls and everything. You saw that one a few minutes ago, and then now this one. Those 3 rooms are probably the scariest rooms I've ever seen in a Silent Hill game ever. Like, they put the mirror room in this very game to shame. They put anything in Silent Hill 2 to shame. Even in Silent Hill 1, those 3 for me are by far the scariest rooms in all of the Silent Hill series. Got the High Priestess Tarot card. The name Claudia Wolf is written very small on the cover. Looks like this is her diary. Yeah, this game is terrifying when you're young. I don't get how some people can play it. Say it wasn't scary at all compared to the second one. Are you kidding me? The second one was more sad and depressing than scary. It's disturbing, sure, but it's not going to scare you. You know, you just mainly feel sorry for James, and then you mainly feel sorry for Mary once you realize what a scumbag James turned out to be. Although Mary was no saint either. Let's just put it that way. She was no saint either, so. But yeah, like, it's decayed and depressing and sad, but it's not scary. This game is scary when you first play it. Until you really get used to it, it does freak you the fuck out. November 10. She didn't die then, she was born. I knew that for a fact. But then why haven't I found her yet? They were supposed to need her power to build paradise for the happiness of the people. She was supposed to be reborn for that. I'd really like to see her. November 14. Read the Book of Praise. I want to thank Father for lending me such an invaluable book. Now, is that Father Vincent or Father Leonard? Because Father Leonard's an asshole. Could be either father. I guess he might have given her some books. Like, he might not be a complete piece of shit. He might actually treat her decently every once in a while. Especially since he thought she was following a heretic in Dahlia, so he is crazy and an asshole, but maybe he wasn't a 100% asshole. Maybe he had like one good moment once a year where he actually treated Claudia decently. I'll find what I've been searching for in there. How to awaken God, but it's much too cruel. Will I be able to pull it off when I see her? November 16. I was free all day, so I read a modern history of refugees and young slaves, child exploitation. I don't want to be a mere bystander in this world. I can't do anything now, though, and that's what's hard. You should have just run for office, Claudia. That's what you should have done. Could have kicked out some of the scumbags that actually made a difference. Because this is not going to do anything. The God, if he's born, is just going to wipe out the world, so nobody's going to be saved. Everybody's just going to be dead. And then if we restart civilization, you have to wait, what, like a few million years until humankind is back on its feet? Assuming the new civilization even is humans, like, that's not going to solve anything, Claudia. You should just run for office. Would have been a much easier way to fix things, you know. Starting with your own town, you know, fix your own hometown first, then fix the state, and then fix the world. Don't try to fix the world right away. It's an old birthday card on the desk, so she was still hanging on to this. Happy birthday to little Claudia. Happy 6th birthday. I'll love you as if you're my real sister. Here's to you. Oh, that's cute. Alyssa also has much neater handwriting than most 6-year-olds. Most 6-year-olds can't write for shit. Many adults can't write for shit. They have terrible handwriting. I used to have better handwriting, but I have to admit I've lost it. Now that I mainly type on the computer, I have lost the ability to write decent looking cursive. It is one of those lost skills that a lot of people are suffering from. I don't really know if it's really necessary to be able to write cursive anymore, but at the same time, like, it is kind of a lost art, isn't it? You used to sign things very elegantly in cursive, now you just kind of scribble. Because most of the stuff you sign now is electronic, so you just kind of scribble whatever nonsense it is on there. And it's funny, we make fun of a certain politician for his terrible signature. You know who he is, but we make fun of him for his terrible signature. And yes, there's plenty to make fun of him, but at the same time, we all have terrible signature nowadays. Like, we've gotten too used to computers. Nobody can write cursive anymore. Nobody. What are these letters? No, maybe a bunch of suggestions. People are starting to voice their dissatisfaction about Father Vincent using the organization's money for his own personal benefit. I've also heard rumors that Father Vincent has been extorting donations from some followers. Is he really the right person for such a position? I'm in no place to deny all he's done to make the organization grow. Even though we believe in God, if there was some sort of gathering, should we be valued not for our limited talents or our talkativeness, but for the depth of our faith? It's kind of a bad argument there, because if you have no talent and you don't want to spread the word as it is, like, what good really are you to the organization? You can believe in God, sure, but everyone believes in God in a lot of places. Doesn't mean they can actually do anything. LS. I wonder who who LS is. It's not Leonard. I wonder who it is. He wouldn't write that. He would have just threatened Vincent and probably killed him. So whoever that order member is, they're probably a lot more patient than Leonard was. I wonder who it is. That's where Vincent went wrong though. Like he did it wrong. You don't skim a lot from the church. You just skim a little bit off the top, enough to sustain yourself decently, and then you give the rest. You don't take too much. That's when they become suspicious. You know, if you're gonna embezzle, you gotta do it wisely. You can't skim too much off the collection plate, or else they'll notice. You know, that's where you went wrong. You only take a little, Father Vincent, not a lot, or else they'll start to suspect you. So, you know, like ideally you shouldn't be doing it at all, but if you're going to embezzle, be smart about it. Don't be an absolute scumbag, because that's when they catch you. Speaking of politicians, that's when they caught one doing that just a few days ago. So like I said, you can't take too much. You gotta skim just a little, enough so that even if they notice that, they'll go, well, it's whatever. You don't take a whole bunch of money, because that's when they get suspicious. That's when they start wanting to go after you. And since you're the only thing holding the order together in this case, like Vincent is literally the only reason why the order is still alive at this point. Like it probably was not a wise idea to remove him. So they both screwed up. Cassette tape, there's no label, but the tab's been removed. It might be worth checking out. All right, let's check out this tape.
Do you know about what happened here 17 years ago? You've been here a long time. You must have heard some details.
A group of pagans, blinded by earthly desires, spit in the very face of God. They tried to use the seal of Metatron to prevent God's awakening. But God drove the unbelievers away.
There it is, Metatron, the alternate spelling.
But due to their wickedness, God was unable to be born properly. And so, she has slumbered ever since, in the womb of the Holy Mother, until the time of the awakening. That's all that I know.
That's it, huh? Well, thanks.
He sounds so disappointed.
Father Vincent, I heard that the Holy Mother has been found. Is it true?
Alessa has been found? Did Claudia say that?
Yes.
Then it must be true. Her sight rarely fails her.
Bless the Lord.
Maybe it's because of her great faith. But I could never be like her. I wouldn't want to.
Nor I. The truth is, Sister Claudia frightens me a little.
Well now, let's both show our faith by forgetting about this little talk, okay?
Yes, but does that mean this land will finally be the home of eternal paradise?
If God wills it, my sister. If God wills it.
You can hear what Vincent is thinking during the first part where she's repeating what happened supposedly 17 years ago. You can hear that he's thinking, you're a fucking idiot. She's completely brainwashed by Claudia. That's obviously the version of events that Claudia has been spreading around the order. Since there's no one left alive from that era that was involved in Dahlia's little inner circle, Claudia basically has to pick up the reins, and she's spreading whatever version she believes in. Because that's obviously not what happened. And it's funny how the lady calls them pagans when in the view of Christians they would be the pagans. So I guess here is the reverse. I guess here they view unbelievers and Christians as pagans, and they're their chosen religion. Yeah, Vincent sounds so condescending to her. She doesn't even realize it. You also notice Claudia does have some abilities on her own. We already saw the telekinesis earlier with Douglas. That's the only way she could have broken his leg. But at the same time, she also has some psychic powers besides that. Because you can see Vincent capitalized it with her sight. Capital S. That means she can kind of see. Maybe not the future, but she's definitely aware of some things that other people are not. Oh, I don't like this freaking hellscape. Hell no. Jesus Christ, like we're literally burning in Angelus Hell from the second game. I don't like this one. We have to go into the 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 gauntlet again with those 4 monsters. Alright, we have the 5 cards, so that should be enough. God damn. Let's get the hell out of this before the whole dimension collapses on us. Let's get the hell out of that fucking room. That's what the control people over at Remedy would call a threshold, where it's just reality is just imploding in on you right there. Like, get the fuck out of that room. Oh, now it's all wiggly, the blood. We're near the end game. The hell is that? There are some monsters here that in the series that I'll never explain. You hear it here with a roar that you might think might be the Horus God, but it hasn't been born yet, so it's obviously not. You have no idea what's lurking at the bottom of this pit. And then you have in Silent Hill 4, there's there's a roar that you hear at a couple points in the game in Silent Hill 4 that you think might be Walter's body, his real body, but then it's actually impossible for it to be Walter's body because until a certain point in the game it's still locked up in his spot where it is behind a certain room. I won't say which, but it's still locked up there, so it can't be him either. So there are some gigantic sounding monsters that you have no idea what they really are in the Silent Hill series. They're never explained. Like that scream right there, but then also, like I said, the roar that you hear at certain points in the other world in Silent Hill 4, there's never an explanation for that. I used to think it was Walter, but then I realized it can't be Walter's body because the timeline doesn't match up. So what exactly is that thing? Is it some like demonic entity living in like the pit of the other world that we've never seen? What exactly is that thing? Might even be the same monster for all we know. Okay, so I do not have my phone with me at the moment, so I can't look it up, so I'm gonna have to wing this. Let's see. Okay. So the upside down man is under the ground, so he's in the middle. He's in the middle. Okay. The moon is up. On the head of a crazy crown, so the moon is over a clown. The priestess is also high. And the Eye of Night is to the left. Okay, so yeah, let's try to wing this because I don't want to go over and retrieve my phone. It's gonna break up the game. I can't mute anything here because this is not Elgato, this is OBS, and the microphone doesn't have a mute button, so unfortunately that's gonna make a lot of noise if I get up and walk over to get the phone. I should have got it before. High Priestess Tarot card. Didn't this card mean something like genuine belief? Just like her. This was in my old room, in a hospital room. What did this one mean again? The Fool? Yeah, so that one means infinite possibilities, according to Igor from Persona. You always start out as a fool. And then you usually unlock the Universe card at the end, where you've fulfilled your infinite potential. Okay, so he said that the Handman, he's hanging upside down, that's in the bottom middle. So Handman is here. The clown is, I believe it's over here. The moon is above the clown. That hateful thing in the sky is to the left. The Eye of Night. That just reminds me of the older god always watching you in Legacy of Kain. His eyes are everywhere. There you go, it's unlocked. We didn't even need the phone. Good. Let's save, so we don't have to do that again. Alright, we're near the end game. It's probably been close to 3 hours, but we're gonna finish this game. And after we do this one, I know I'm gonna do Silent Hill 4, but I don't know when because I have to set that game up and see how it runs on PC. I want to play it here. I don't want to play it on my PS2 because then we have to upscale it and do all sorts of things. And I already had a PS2 playthrough that I started. I don't know if I ever uploaded it or not, but I have the videos and it's kind of rough. I didn't really have microphones set up properly that time. And like I said, I want to see what they did to fix this game on PC. So I want to run it on PC. I don't want to, so I can play it on my big screen here and have it actually decent. So I can see the details and point out stuff. Because you've noticed there's a lot of detail in this version that I never even saw on the PS2 version, just because of the difference in quality. So I want to play the PC Silent Hill 4, but I have no idea how to get it up and running yet. So I'm gonna have to look into that. There's a huge fan here. I can't get through. There's always a fan in Silent Hill, always. It's hypnotic. You can just stare at it all day long, spinning. Looks like it's actually two fans, one after the other. I just noticed that. It's not just one, it's two in succession. Look at it. Okay, here it is. We're at the end of the chapel. Let's take our health, take our medicine. We got 5 ampules, which should be enough. Let's get ready. This is it. This is the end game. Let's go and try to not meet our maker.
What do I want? Well, for the two of you to die, that would be nice. Then I could relax.
When did you stop believing in God? God lives.
That's not nice of you, Vincent. Heather didn't do anything to you.
But I do believe in her. In my own way.
Besides annoy you, but that's not really a reason to wish her dead.
And I adore her. But I haven't lost my mind like you. You think that this is the work of God? Isn't this all nothing more than your own personal nightmare? Just like Alessa 17 years ago? If this really is the work of God, then I'd say she has lousy taste.
You mock God? Traitor. You will go to hell.
Not that again!
So Claudia obviously doesn't see the hellscape that everyone else is seeing. She sees it probably as something beautiful.
Claiming to know God's will.
But Vincent sees it.
Home. This church is my home. I built it with my power. The power of money that you view with such scorn. Although I admit that this atrocious scenery is all yours.
If you continue to get in my way,
Did you kill me? Well. Well. The guest of honor has arrived. Let's get this party started.
That's a bad move, Vincent.
Go ahead and kill this crazy bitch. This demon who claims to speak for
Don't ever get close to the lunatic cycle and turn your back on them.
You can kill her now.
you'll go to hell!
Like, dude, why didn't you go and stand next to Heather? You would have been safe there. Freaking idiot. He played it perfectly until the one moment when he needed to think. That's when he screwed up.
Nothing important.
You're not going to run? I guess this is the end.
No, the beginning. As Vincent said, the time has come. Alessa, I'm saddened that you didn't agree to this on your own. But I thank you for nurturing God.
Heather, just shoot her. Just shoot her already. Jesus.
It's time for mankind to be released from the shackles of sin.
More people should listen to that.
Could be so cruel. Is it so hard to believe that sympathy could be born out of pain and suffering? Why do you reject God's mercy? Why do you cling to this corrupt world? You know that only God can save us.
And save you too? Happy ending? I'd rather go to hell.
No, I don't expect to be saved. And that's fine. Unless, my dearest, for the pain that I've caused you, I deserve no mercy. Even if it was to save mankind. It was too deep a sin. It was hubris for me to try to hasten the day of her arrival. Sacrifices were made. And those are my sins.
If you feel so guilty about it, why don't you go to hell? Heather, use the seal.
Vincent?
Heather, quick, use an ampule on him. That'll heal him right up.
The seal of Metatron?
Now your stupid dream is over.
Oh, that's just a piece of junk. What do you think you can do with that? Do you really think it can kill God? I'm sorry to see you fell for my father's foolishness.
What?
You're pathetic.
Why does she kill him though? Like she said herself that everything she's done is basically a mistake. Like, why would she even kill him? She's already dying.
But God loves even you.
It's just out of pettiness at that point because he tried to go against her.
Now, Alessa.
And yet she basically doomed her whole order right there. Because Vince's death combined with what happens in Silent Hill 4 is basically the end of the church. So without knowing it, she pretty much just killed her entire religion right there.
Just accept it, Alessa.
I guess she didn't care since she thinks the world's gonna end soon, but yeah, she pretty much just killed her entire order right there. Because between her and then the massive damage Walter Sullivan does in Silent Hill 4, that's pretty much the end of the order right there. It's all over. Those idiot copycats in Silent Hill Homecoming are not the order that Konami envisioned. They're just not the ones that Team Silent envisioned. They're just cheap copycats. And they're idiots too. They don't even follow any of the order's basic teachings. They're just weirdos and cult members.
Shut your stinking mouth, bitch!
God damn, I wish Heather had recovered Alessa's power so she could just fry her right there. Just smash her to pieces or throw a lightning bolt at her or something. Just let us use some actual magic against this bitch to just completely demolish her. But we can't. So we have to use an alternative. Remember what this said? It's a little jewel inside, like a little red tablet. And one thing a lot of people don't know, if you don't take this tablet in time, you will get a bad ending, as in the game ends. And what you see is you start to see the camera drift upwards. And that's actually God being born, because it's being born as a massive being. So that's why I didn't really get it at first when I first played it. I was thinking, oh, why is the camera going up? Where it's going up because that's showing the God emerging from Heather's body and how huge it actually is. So yeah, we do not want that ending. Claudia does have a point in that sometimes it does take some suffering to empathize with people. You know, there are some people who never been challenged at all in their whole lives and they have no empathy towards others. Like one famous politician in the US, who I won't name here specifically because I don't want to get into politics, but his name starts with an M and his last name also starts with an M, and you can tell the reason he has no empathy is because he's never had one single hardship in his entire life, and so it's impossible for him to feel empathetic towards others. He has no sympathy, no empathy, no feelings toward any other human being. So you do need some suffering to feel empathy, but at the same time, the problem is the people who turn that into like a religion of worship where, oh, you know, I'm going to make the whole world suffer. That's the way I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make the whole world suffer so that then they can appreciate how good it is. And that's what a lot of Christian extremists are nowadays in the United States. Oh, we're going to make every woman, every man, every child, every person outside our church suffer as much as possible so that then they can appreciate how good and holy we are and how good God's love supposedly is. And remember what Heather said earlier about the God being a devil, and that's pretty much what their God comes across to people like us who don't believe in it. It's a devil. So they take the suffering worship and they make it they take it way too far. You know, the idea that your entire purpose in the world is to suffer. All right, let's use this damn tablet. I've also heard it called suffering porn, and it happens a lot in fictional universes too. The Spider-Man fandom has a big problem with that, where they get so obsessed with the idea of Peter Parker suffering, and that's why he's so empathetic and sympathetic, that they basically want his life to be nothing but suffering. He's not allowed to have a wife, not allowed to have kids, not allowed to have friends, not allowed to have a successful career. He's always got to be in poverty, always got to be broke, always got to be suffering one health crisis or a financial crisis or another. Like they said, it's suffering worship. And it takes what is usually a very likable, very normal character, and it makes him unsympathetic because his life is so horrible that it really would be for the best if it just ended. So they completely ruined the purpose of Spider-Man, which is for him to be a regular human being that's also a superhero. He's not meant to suffer endlessly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Ew, that's nasty. That freaked people out when it first happened, but I don't know, I wasn't that grossed out at it because at that point, that thing's a demon, so you gotta get it out of ways. You gotta get it out of you somehow. How else are you gonna do it? Are you gonna cut it yourself out of it? I guess if Alessa had her magical power, she probably could cut it out of her and possibly heal herself again, but that's not... What else was she... Oh, this is the part that really grossed people out, even though you don't see it. Heather, why are you just standing there? Just shoot her with a shotgun. It's over. Just shoot her with a shotgun and kill her. Why? And why did you wait to step on it? Like, that's what I said. Heather doesn't really want to kill Claudia. She has multiple opportunities. She could have done it right there.
You can't do it, Alessa. I will.
It's also funny because with all her hatred and resentment, you figured Claudia would have enough motivation to birth God. I guess she just doesn't have the raw power. That's what she's lacking. She has the mindset, but not the power to actually birth it properly. She's like a pale imitation of Alessa. She has some talent, but not much. It's the difference in control between Jesse being a powerhouse and Trench being like a... Trench or Northmore being just like a shade of her. They have a slight amount of power, but not the one that's really needed to lead the Bureau. This is the same thing here. Claudia has a slight amount of power, but it's not enough to actually birth the god properly. You need Alessa for that. She's a real powerhouse. And there's the hole from the painting that we saw earlier in the chapel. I was always confused the first couple times what happened there. Now I realize it's Valtio pulling her down to ensure that God is born. Sounded a bit like a wildcat there. Now, if you had a grenade, this would be where you just toss a grenade down there and call it a day. You do not have to go down there knowing what's waiting for you. Also wonder what would have happened if Heather had just up and left. I realize that she can't because she's stuck in the other world, so she can't really walk out, but yeah, like, do you really have to go down there and kill that thing? Because it's been born improperly, which means the most it can do is just throw fireballs and swipe at you, so it's not really a threat. You know, do you really have to go down there and exterminate it? I'd probably just leave at this point, you know, just leave and alert the authorities to come here and let them deal with it. You know, when they go down there and they have a few of them killed by that monster, maybe then they can get some explosives and kill it. You know, I would not risk my life to go down there, but I guess you have to finish it, right? Here's all the paintings too. I never even noticed these until like my second or third playthrough. The fact they were actually here in this little chapel. I guess this is where they hold most of their secret more heavyweight cult meetings right here. You see all the churches, I mean all the seats and stuff. There's all the buildings. If you try to leave, it won't let you. I want to get out of here, but I just can't. This is for Dad and for myself. And for Claudia too. Man, fuck Claudia. Fuck her. Woman's a freak. Why do you feel sympathy for her? She's a monster. Like, she's a monster. I was wrong about Harry being a monster. She's a monster. Like, she has one slight sympathetic thing about her, that her dad abused her. That's pretty much it. I wish we could see this painting in clarity though. That's paradise. I suppose that's supposed to be the Order's paradise. I wish we had that painting in greater detail, because that's a cool painting right there. Look at how otherworldly it looks. It does not look like Earth. It looks like some type of alien landscape. I wish we had that picture in greater clarity, because we have these and you can find them online, but you can't really get this one in greater clarity. So I wish we had this one. Look at that. That looks like it might go well on a t-shirt, and people would ask you, what is it from? Oh, it's from this wonderful little game called Silent Hill 3. You should play it. I wish we had that. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, how else was she gonna get God out of her? Like, she could either puke it out or just cut it out, one or the other, and she doesn't have the power to cut it out. Plus, it has to interact with the tablet, with the little medicine, chemical, whatever that thing is. Oh, there, you see now in clarity, you see it definitely looks like Alessa. I was always confused when I saw the intro the first time I played this, and I saw this, I thought we were like in some type of alternate dimension. I didn't realize those lines just part of the architecture. You see them right there surrounding them? Because remember, I had a crappy TV back then, so when I first saw this in the intro, it looked like some type of alien dimension to us. Like some type of hellish otherworld. I didn't realize this is just the basement of the chapel. I guess this is it looks like the base of some organ that you would find in an ancient chapel, but yeah, what is this place besides just the basement of the church in the real world? Or the Misty world? What is this? It's funny, she says, I was gonna kill you. Heather, you had 3 or 4 fucking opportunities to kill her. Why didn't you kill her? I know you were a lesson, part of you doesn't really want to kill her, but you kinda had to. Be careful of the limbs here. It can attack you. So there's not much to this boss. You just kind of avoid the flames. You when she kneels down to swipe at you, that's when you shoot, or you hit her with the sword if you're feeling brave enough. This fight is really difficult on hard difficulties, almost impossible, and then it's really impossible in the other difficulties. You have like 1 through 7, which are the insane difficulties. They're basically the equivalent of Uncharted's grounded mode. One hit kill from any enemy, so it's almost impossible. Here's not too bad. You do have to make sure you keep your distance from her hands, because that'll happen. She can swipe you easily. She has like, those hands are like 12 feet long, so they can easily swipe at you. There, you want to make sure you keep your distance. Also, a little trick: if you use the ampules, they provide you a little bit of invincibility from from the flames. So you want to do that. You want to shoot with the handgun to bring her down. And then you can use your more heavyweight firepower with the shotgun. If you're feeling brave, you can get up and use the sword, but you run the risk of her swiping at you with those arms. You also gotta avoid the flames. She only really has 2 attacks: the swipe and the flame, which is kind of lame because being a god, I figured it would have like lightning and other stuff. You know, like all it can do is just shoot at you with fire. There goes our machine gun ammo. This fight is a bitch on hard mode. Like I said, it's almost impossible. And then on the other ones, it's as close to impossible as you can get on difficulties 1 through 7. It's getting close. Hit it with sword. The fire's pretty easy to dodge here though. It goes in a circle, so not too much difficulty there. Oh shit. We're about to die. Let's take that ampule now. I like the music though. This is one of my favorite things in the whole series. It just sounds so demonic. You know, the boss in 1 wasn't really scary because it was just ambience or like background grating industrial type noise. It wasn't really a soundtrack. This is a soundtrack. Like this sounds freaking scary as hell. Just the demonic ass sounding music. Like this is a final boss theme. One interesting thing about the cult, it's also interesting that they have a concept of hell, because remember, they were started as a native religion. They were not Christian at all, so that's one of the things that they definitely imported from Christianity, the idea of a hell. Because I don't even think the native religion had a concept of hell. I haven't seen too many Native American religions that have that concept. It's more like a spirit world or something like that. Sometimes you'll find a void, but none of them really have hell. That's a uniquely Christian and Muslim type of idea. Even Judaism, I don't think has a hell, right? I think it just has like heaven, purgatory, and then an underworld. Like it doesn't really have hell. You know, hell is strictly a Christian and Muslim invention, pretty much. Oh, damn. Yeah, her arms are like 12 feet long, so you gotta be careful with those. Good thing we have all our supplies, right? This is one thing I hope they fix in if they do a remake of this. Make it easier to switch the weapons. You know, use them. Make it easier to switch the weapons. Use like a Metal Gear type menu, or like Resident Evil 4 type menu for the weapons. You can still have the infinite space for the items, but just make sure we can access our weapons a lot easier so we don't have to switch over and over. Because it is tedious switching between the different menus just to go back to the handgun. You know, going back to the handgun then switching to the shotgun. It is tedious, so I wish we could switch weapons on the fly, Metal Gear style. Or Resident Evil style, where you assign a weapon to each button on the D-pad. That would be pretty nice. That would be a pretty good switch. I'd approve of that change. Hopefully they do that in Silent Hill 2. Because even though 2 doesn't have that many weapons, it's like 5 or 6 at most, but it would still be nice if you could switch between them using the D-pad instead of just going into the menu over and over. So hopefully that's one of the improvements Bloober team makes. If nothing else, at least improve that, you know. You can leave the rest of the game as it is for the most part, but make sure to improve that, because it's 2023, guys. About to be 2024. We don't need to be switching between multiple menus to switch between our guns. Just give us the nice ability to select that. Because if Hideo Kojima could do it back in 2001, there's no excuse for anyone else not to do it nowadays. You know, just let us switch guns on the fly. Give us that bit of freedom. You do have to be careful on the hard difficulty because the fire can follow you. It doesn't only take one route. Here it takes one route, but on hard mode it can actually circle around back to you. So you gotta be careful that you don't run into it. God damn. Let's take another health drink. Heather's gonna have to spend a lot of time in the bathroom after it was with how many health drinks she's taken. She's drunk like 30 of these easily. How much ammo do we have? Oh, we have a hell of a lot of ammo. Not so much shotgun ammo, we got a hell of a lot of handgun ammo. Yeah, just make it easier to switch guns on the fly, guys. That's all I ask. You know, you don't really have to change the other gameplay that much. Just make it easier to switch guns, you know. Switch guns, a block or dodge button, you know, so that James doesn't come across as a total idiot. Just tanking enemy attacks. That's pretty much it. You don't need to fix much else. That's pretty much it. Just let us switch guns and let us dodge some attacks. That's all I'm asking of you. Just do that. Don't mess with the narrative too much. Keep the old soundtrack and I'll be satisfied. I do not need more from Silent Hill 2 Remake besides just an graphical update and the ability to enter more rooms in the town. That's all I need. Let me switch guns, let me go in more buildings and rooms, and let me dodge some attacks. That's all I need from the game. And have it look good. Everything else you keep the same. Keep the story the same, keep the soundtrack the same. Maybe one more fight with Pyramid Head, because he's always cool. It'll be decent to fight him across the town in different spots. So one more fight with Pyramid Head. Other than that, I don't need much. You know, just do that and the game should be great. Don't screw it up, you know, it's not the hardest game to modernize, you know, like as long as you do everything decent, you should be alright. Just don't get crazy on us. Just follow Capcom's Resident Evil 1 Remake example. And we are out of ammo for the shotgun, fuck. And Heather has no rifle like James, so it's back to the good old... Ah, fuck it, let's go in with the freaking samurai sword. The freaking katana. Yep. Fuck it, let's use the Ampule. Let's go on in and kill this bitch Heather. This is not Alessa. Give her that 3-hit combo. You can see her spine there. So I'm guessing if Heather / Alessa had birthed it, what would have resulted is a giant version of that woman from the pictures, the paintings that looks a little bit like Alessa. So instead of red hair, she would have had Alessa's black hair, but it probably would have been a gigantic version of her. And I'm guessing the first thing she would have done probably would have been to burn the world to ash. You know, just burn it all to ashes, because that's what Claudia probably secretly wanted. You know, she says she wants to help, but she was raised by Dahlia, and Dahlia wanted her to burn the world, so her idea of help probably would have been just to kill everyone. Wonder what happens if we use a stun gun. Oh, there it is, she's dead. Oh, that was anticlimactic. I thought she was gonna go back up. I was gonna hit her with the sword again. Oh, look at that. She looks like she has scripture written on her legs too. That's a neat little detail. I never noticed that before. It's not just flesh, because you can tell it's different from the others. It looks like she has scripture written on her. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, those sticks standing out of the ground like that always confused me when I saw them in the intro, this area there. Only on my very first time when I was young and I saw it, I thought it looked like some alternate dimension. Like that was energy or something. Remember, I was playing Eternal Darkness at the time, and you see a lot of weird places in that game. So we are finished. We've conquered and beaten the god. We've unintentionally killed off the Order, because without their precious leader Vincent, they're nothing. They disband pretty quickly. After Walter's killing spree in 4, they disband. Now that's a mistake, Heather. You never linger around the monster long enough to give it a second chance. You get your ass out of there. But as you can see, this is going to have repercussions. There's a dot there I noticed just now. Is that from the flashlight? This game does need some improved texture work. That's why I wish they would stop working on that damn Silent Hill 2 Enhanced Edition. Get to this game already. Guys, you've been working on that thing for like 3 or 4 years. It's done. It's perfect. It's over. Let it go and get started on the third one. Yeah, they just announced another update they're doing for that. They do not want to let that game go, and it's fine. It's fine, guys. You fixed it. It's perfect as is. Leave it and start working on 3 and 4 before you all die off from COVID or something. Jesus. Oh, did we not get the bad ending? Oh, that sucks. Ah, fuck me, man. We got the good ending. We didn't kill enough monsters. Goddamn son of a bitch. This sucks. I wanted to see the possessed ending.
Really over? Not yet. You're still alive.
What, Heather?
I'm upset. I wanted the possessed ending. God damn it. Shit.
You've got terrible
I'm
taste.
sorry.
Heather, did
You
you...
don't have to call me that.
I'm gonna have to look up one of my old save files on the PS2 and see if I have one with the possessed ending.
What was it again?
Cheryl.
Oh, boo. Boo. Should have named yourself Alessa again.
Hair color go back to...
This ending sucks.
Don't you think blondes have more fun?
Ugh. It's a terrible line, Heather. Some people have said that it was a very dumb move on her part. It wasn't smart to threaten a guy with a gun, but remember, he had no bullets left. Or else he would have killed Claudia. He might have like one or something, and he's in too much shock to actually use the gun anyway. So like Heather knew that when she pulled that joke on him, she knew he was in no capacity to actually fight back. Which is why in the possessed ending, she actually kills him. And she's fully become the embodiment of the Order's God. I want to see that ending. I hate this ending. This sucks. Oh, here we go. This scene. I guess Harry was a Christian because they got a cross on his cemetery. I mean, on his tombstone there. So I guess, yeah. Another piece of evidence, if he wanted to be, that Dahlia knew he was religious and kind of used some of his own knowledge against him by referring to her own god as a demon. What kind of cemetery is that too? Those tombstones are suspiciously spaced out. I've never seen a cemetery with that much space in real life. They're all close. The ones here in Philly, the tombstones are basically piled on top of each other here in the city cemeteries. I've never seen one this nice with so much space. That's only in a game, I guess. I don't know where that might be. We have the famous cemetery here where Sylvester Stallone filmed Rocky Balboa and Creed. And even that cemetery doesn't have them this spaced out. Like, there's rows and rows of tombstones. So I don't know what kind of cemetery this is where the headstones are this spaciously apart. Like that, I've never seen a cemetery like that in real life. Oh, look at that. Another World Evil Effect program. So they call it the Another World Evil Effect program. I'm guessing whoever wrote that program, Norihito Takeda, was not present on Silent Hill 4 because that has no evil world effect. It just recycles the same environments twice in a row, which makes it suck. It was lazy development. Minako Asano. Not the Minako from Persona. One of my favorite characters ever. The female protagonist from Persona 3. I call her Minako. Supposedly her real name is Katone, but I always call her Minako. I used to hate this song the first few times I heard it. But then I heard Silent Hill 4's theme, Cradle of Forest. And I liked that one. And then I realized that he was intentionally doing kind of like a David Bowie type homage, and then I began to appreciate it a bit more. Cause at this point, believe it or not, I had actually never heard one of David Bowie's songs. And it's funny, Vash was playing this game a few months ago and he asked the same thing. Is this David Bowie? No, it's not. It's a pretty good sound alike. Joe Roberta. But yeah, I had never heard of David Bowie before, like his songs. I've heard of him obviously, but not the songs. So I never heard his voice. So when I heard this guy, I was thinking, why is he so deep and goofy sounding? But then I picked up on the comparison from other people and realized, oh, he's supposed to be channeling David Bowie. That's the whole vibe of the song. And that's what he does for Silent Hill 4 too. And then, oh, I began to appreciate it. And then I listened to the lyrics about what the song's about, Harry and Heather and all that stuff. And then I grew much more of an appreciation for it. So the voice actors, Heather Morris, great job. Richard Gross, he's unfortunately deceased. So rest in peace. Donna Burke, good job on Claudia. She also did Angela. Clifford Ripple, good job on Vincent. And I assume those guys did the monster voices and the phone caller in the locker room. They all did a pretty good job. Melissa Williamson, I've actually met her in real life. Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, this was her alias. I've actually met her in real life. Real life. She is pretty good. I know people were bitching about her not appreciating her role in the series and her performance as Mary/Maria when the HD collection set came out because it's not good. But remember guys, she's a singer, she's not a voice actress. Singing is what she does best. So Konami planned that out poorly, I will admit, but she's a pretty decent, cool person. I got a photo with her and everything. She was nice. I got her autograph and everything, and she charges cheap too. She wasn't expensive like some of those guys who were charging hundreds of dollars. So it was a nice memory for me. I met her at Comic-Con the year before COVID, if that dates it. Back in way back in 2019, I met her. So that's always something I enjoy, and I'm proud of that. I got to meet one of my, not heroes, but definitely one of the people I admire. So that's pretty good. I enjoy her music and I still continue to enjoy it. I hope she does some more songs for the new Silent Hill 2 remake and any other games they do. Oh, here we go. Silent Hill 3 PC team. These are the guys who ported it over. You kind of screwed up, guys, but I don't blame you. Konami didn't give you that much money to work with, so you know we can't really be that harsh on you guys. Oh, they even did the typefaces. Yeah, you can't really blame them. They did the best they could with the resources they were giving at the time. Yeah, I didn't like that song at first because I thought, oh, I wanted to hear the updated Silent Hill team. I don't want to hear this guy singing. I wanted to hear about the lyrics, but then I grew to appreciate it gradually over the years. Like, as I realized he's consciously trying to imitate David Bowie, and it's a poor man's David Bowie, but it sounds similar enough that people confuse it with David Bowie, so I appreciate it now. I like the song, and it goes into the story of Harry and Heather and what Harry's ordeal is, which again makes me appreciate Harry more as a character because I hated him before. I thought he was an asshole, but I've grown. Don't crucify me, Silent Hill fans. I've grown to appreciate Harry in recent years. I have. Okay, so we got action level normal. We got, oh boy, we got 5.5 stars. That is not good. 8 hours, 23 minutes, 40 seconds. That sucks. Split worm time. Yeah, look, you can see how well you did by the star ranking. So, total damage, we did not do enough. Now I'm kind of confused because it says it says we killed 64 enemies and 17 by shooting. I thought the minimum requirement for the possessed ending was 75, but oh, I remember what happened. I get it now. You can't get the possessed ending in your first playthrough. You have to play the game again and then kill all the monsters to get the possessed ending. Oh, so I screwed up by playing this version instead of the PS2 one, but this was the one I wanted to do, so oh well. Yeah, I looked the possessed ending up on YouTube. It's not much better, but I think it is better. Because at least it has some meaning instead of Heather just joking around with Douglas, who I don't really like. But yeah, you have to play the game a second time to get the ending, which I'm not going to do. So yeah, I'm not going to play I'm not gonna play 4 more hours of this or 5 hours just to get that one ending. So you'll have to look it up on your own time. But yeah, you have to play the game a second time to get the possessed ending. I remember now. It doesn't matter how many monsters you kill the first time or whether you forgive that woman. If you're not on your second playthrough, you're not gonna get the possessed ending. It's a way for Team Silent to make sure you see all the endings, and then you can get the UFO one in your third playthrough. So once you also have, I believe, the Princess Heart outfit. So I guess that was good thinking on their part. Compared to like Silent Hill Homecoming, where you can get the UFO ending on your first try, and it makes the game into a joke. I guess it's good thinking on their part, but that sucks. 'Cause I wanted to see the possessed ending. Okay, so we didn't do too bad with the action level, but this sucked. We only got 0.10 from us. We got 1/10 of a star for that. We did the split one okay. That one was cool. Missionary, we kind of screwed it up a bit. We got hit a couple times, so we got 1 star for that. Oh, we whipped Leonard's ass. Look at that. We got 2 stars for him. We kicked his ass good. We smoked his ass good. Memory of Alessa, we struggled a bit with that one. And then the God, we actually beat it in... That was 3 minutes? God damn, I thought that was like... That felt like 10 minutes. That was only 3 minutes and 57 seconds we were fighting that thing. Clear number 1, so... I don't know why they deducted points from this for us. I guess they want us to play the game multiple times. Save, we save too much. I do that in Resident Evil 2. Oh, item number. We got every freaking item. Look at that, 157. Header's pockets were just full of stuff. And then we screwed up. We didn't shoot enough enemies. What people don't realize, and I saw this from someone playing Silent Hill 2 recently, you can fight the enemies with the weapons, the melee weapons, but you have to shoot them to kill them. That's the only way it counts. If you shoot a guy 5 times, he drops down, and then you use the maul or the sword or the pipe or the axe or whatever to kill him. It doesn't count as a shooting death. It counts as a fighting death. So if you want to make sure to get the right statistic for this one, hit them with the pipe or the sword or whatever, and then shoot them to death. Don't waste bullets on them like I did. Just fight melee and then shoot. And then this is pure melee. And then total damage, yeah, we could have done more. So all in all, we kind of sucked. We kind of did a bad playthrough, but like I said, I just wanted to explain the lore and the storytelling as I saw it and go into stuff. Like, I didn't really want to get a picture perfect run, because that's insane. Trying to do all that stuff in one playthrough is insane, and you have to do it on hard mode. There's no choice. The game will not award you 10 stars unless you play on hard mode, and I was not going to play on hard mode on PC for my first time. So it is what it is, but I guess we did semi decently. We got 5.5 stars. It could have been much worse. We could have gotten 4 stars or 3. So I really like this theme too. At the end for the menu, it's better than Silent Hill 2's. It's better than Silent Hill 2's menu theme. I really like this one. It sounds kind of... I don't know if epic is the right word, but it sounds kind of like majestic. Like we just accomplished something great by beating an actual god. It's a good note to end the story on. This particularly ethereal, that's the word I'm looking for. Ethereal theme. That's what it sounds like. Ethereal, mystical. That's what this theme sounds like. It sounds much better than Silent Hill 2 ranking screen music. That one I don't really like that much. And 4 barely has a melody at the ranking screen, so I don't like that one much either. Extra new game has added to start screen. Play from there to see and enjoy extra features. Starting from a new game, we'll begin a new game without the extra features. You fulfilled the conditions for the hidden weapon Beam Saber. Extra costume has also been added to the start screen. You select this and enter the password, you can get a new costume. You got the extra costume password. Happy birthday. Okay, so let's enter that right away before we actually forget. Because if I wait until whenever I do my next playthrough a few months ago, I'm gonna forget. So, yep, let's just save over here. We got results. Let's go enter happy birthday before we completely forget. I might just do a fun playthrough just to get the possessed ending so you can see it, and also do the bonus weapons because they make the game a lot more fun. Various people have commented on that one of the problems with Silent Hill is it's not really that playable. It's not that much fun to play, but the extra bonus weapons here do make it very fun. I think this is actually the most fun of all the games to play. To actually sit down and play, not just the story like 2, not just the atmosphere and horror like 1, or the weirdness like 4. I think this one is the most fun to play. To actually play once you use all the bonus weapons, they're pretty cool. Now, before I forget, because this is my last playthrough for this game for a while, I said before that this game had 3 of the scariest rooms I've ever seen in a Silent Hill series. One that almost qualified but not quite is actually why is that a lowercase y? Oh, I get it, never mind. I'm doing all capital. I'm confusing it with the Sony points where when you go into the Sony reward store, it's all capital letters. I'm confusing it with that. Yeah, we do have to use capital ones here and some small ones. Some lowercase letters. So it's happy birthday. And I believe the day and the D in day was capitalized, so let's do that. Happy birthday. Yeah, the other room that is not really scary, but it is kind of eerie would be the library in Silent Hill Origins. If you've never played Origins, I recommend playing it almost just to see that room, because that room is pure Silent Hill horror. People said, oh, there we go, we got a header shirt. Hell yeah. That's a shirt obviously with header on it. You know, it's not too complicated. Let's look at the options. Resolution, window, lens flare quality high, real-time shadow, yes. What the hell is gamma correction? I have no idea what that is. Oh, adjust brightness. So it's another word for brightness. Okay. Yeah, you can control the blood. You can put normal. We chose to put on a lot of blood. You can do green blood. You can do black. Make it more freaky, like everybody's bleeding the black oil from the X-Files. Although the game itself already did black blood. You can do violet, purple blood. You can do green, like they're all toxic waste. You can map. You can zoom out or zoom in. The noise effect is off. It's funny, somebody said Silent Hill 2 Remix probably not going to be that good because they're probably going to take away the noise effect. I don't believe they will. I think they will. I think that's the first thing Bloober Team would keep because it's traditional to the series. But the thing is, I actually don't like the noise effect. I know that's heresy for a lot of fans. That's blasphemy, but I actually don't like it because I feel the games are good enough. They look good enough to stand on their own without the noise effect. The noise effect for me is actually kind of distracting. And I appreciate being able to see the games a lot better with the graphics so we can see how detailed Heather's eyes are, how detailed her face is, how detailed the environments are, the monsters, little touches like that. Like that bit there where it looks like there's scripture on the arm of the god monster. Stuff like that you don't notice with the noise effect. Oh, we should also do more bullets next time. Adjusted. I'm not going to do 5. Oh, yeah, you do have to do multiple playthroughs to get up to 5. But we can do 2 for the shotgun. Yeah, so I actually don't like the noise effect. And you also have the display mode. You can do normal or sharp. I don't really like sharp. I think normal. It's funny. People say, oh, with the noise effect and normal off is the worst display. For me, it's actually the best. It's the best on my eyes. My eyes don't really adjust very well to it being sharp with the noise effect on or off. But we could do sharp next time. Let's just do sharp next time just to so you can see the difference. And you know what? Let's do black blood. So everyone's bleeding out the black oil from the X-Files. And we'll do 2. We'll save that. We'll keep this one because that keeps us from getting killed. We don't have to be switching. We don't have to be switching back to our health menu every couple seconds. That alerts us to how much health we have left. So let's do that. Let's do that. They're gonna bleed some black blood next time. They can be truly demonic. We'll do those options, but Silent Hill Origins, yeah, for me it is a game that is worth playing. It's basically Silent Hill 1 Light. That's pretty much what it is. Like, the best way to explain it is, if Eternal Darkness is basically Lovecraft Light, you know, kind of sort of like Lovecraft, but a bit different, that's pretty much what Silent Hill Origins is. It's Silent Hill 1 Light. Kind of similar to it, but somewhat different. But still within the spirit of the original work. Just like Eternal Darkness is in the spirit of Lovecraft, Silent Hill Origins is in the spirit of Silent Hill 1. I think that's one reason why a lot of people didn't like it, you know. I hate to say it, but the Silent Hill fandom kind of dug his own grave, because they asked so many times for rip-offs of Silent Hill 2 that when Konami gave them that, they were pissed off, and then they didn't like that series anymore. And Konami tried worse and worse efforts to get that same magic, to recapture that same Silent Hill 2 magic, and it didn't work, and unfortunately that sunk the series. But I can never forget that it was half of the fans who asked for that specifically. And we know they asked for it because whenever that guy, Jeremy Blustein, whatever his name is, from that Konami... No, not him, Tom Hewlett. Jeremy Blustein is the translator. No, it's Tom Hewlett. Whenever that guy... Whatever that piece of shit, remember, he used to be a decent guy. He genuinely used to be a decent guy, and he's turned kind of into an asshole in the past few years. He's turned into an asshole in recent years. But back then, when he was just a guy working at Konami, whenever he would ask him on forums what they want to see in the next game, because the Japanese company was relying on him to see what American fans wanted to see, they would tell him over and over, we want more Silent Hill 2, we want more stuff like Silent Hill 2, we want more twists like Silent Hill 2, we want more characters like Silent Hill 2. So they would bring up the second game over and over and over again. So he decided, whoa, well, I guess that's what they want. They want Silent Hill 2 over and over again. It turns out, that was not what they wanted. That was not at all what they wanted, and unfortunately, Konami let themselves be misguided by that, and they kind of sunk their own... They dug their own grave. They sunk their own ship because Konami didn't know what to do. The fans didn't know what to do. And so it just became a fucking mess. But as bad as Konami is, the fans, at least those hardcore fans, are 50% responsible for what happened to the series. They are half responsible for the series falling so far, because they asked for countless rip-offs of Silent Hill 2. And that's what Konami delivered. And unfortunately for them, they decided that was not what they really liked. They did not want that at all. Now, there were fans like me who were saying, listen, we don't want Silent Hill 2 over and over again. Let us do something new. You know, we like the first and third games more. Let's do more of that. Or hell, let's do one that's different from those. But no, they had to have their James Sunderland ripoff over and over again. And complain and bitch endlessly about him. And that's exactly what they did. And so that's the path Konami followed. So yeah, Konami is a bad company and they suck. And they're really only making games again because their pachinko money has dried up. But let's be clear, half of the Silent Hill fans were responsible for what the series turned into. They ruined their own beloved series, and I'm not gonna lie to spare their feelings. No, I was on those forums during those years. I saw a lot of those arguments. I saw many of those arguments. I saw many of the things they told Tom Hewlett outright, which he then reported back to Konami. And I can tell you, half of those fans were absolutely full of shit. They worshipped Silent Hill 2 to an insane degree, and they did not want to be removed from that game. They wanted every game to be that game, and when it wasn't that game, they got pissed off. And when it was that game, like the Twist and Homecoming, they still got pissed off, so there was no way to win. And I don't blame Konami for just taking a break from the series and just saying, fuck that. We're not going to make any games anymore because there's no way to satisfy these people. Like I said, Konami sucks. But those hardcore Silent Hill fans who helped ruin the series, they suck equally. You know, they both. It's two levels of suckage. Konami and the fans. So hopefully the sane, reasonable fans do better this time and don't let the maniacs and fanatics take over and ruin the dialogue once again. Like, if the remake comes out, and if it's good, and I know it's a big if, but if it is good, I hope that the more rational fans take control this time and don't let the lunatics dictate what Konami does from now on, because we'll all be better off if we listen to the same fans and not the weirdos who just harp on Silent Hill 2 over and over again, and that's all they want, you know. We'd all be much, much better off in the long run if we listen to the sane, reasonable fans instead of the freaks. Don't listen to the freaks. Because the freaks have what they like and they don't want anything else. You gotta listen to what other people want. But that's Silent Hill 3, one of my favorite games ever. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. I hope you didn't mind too much me rambling on and on about subjects that are somewhat not even related to Silent Hill at all. But I enjoy talking about them because I enjoy talking about storytelling in games, and I enjoy talking about storytelling in general. And I'm a big fan of the series, and I'm becoming a big fan of Control. And I'm a big Resident Evil Metal Gear fan, so I enjoy talking about those things. Control and Silent Hill, Metal Gear Solid and Resident Evil and all these games and movies that I like and stuff like that. I enjoy talking about all this stuff. And TV shows and how the medium of entertainment is changing, how the landscape of entertainment is changing, how games are going all digital, how that's having a bad effect on games. I enjoy talking about all this stuff, so I hope you don't mind it too much, because if you're a survival horror fan, let's face it, we've all played these games 20 times over. Like, you run out of things eventually to talk about them, but this game has a great lore to it, you know. Not as big a lore as Control. That series, between that and Alan Wake, there's some insane levels of lore there, but this, up until very recently, this probably along with like Legacy of Kain were the gold standard for me of lore in video games. You know, Metal Gear has some great lore, Resident Evil has some great lore, Final Fantasy has some great lore, but at the top, for me at the top were always Silent Hill and Legacy of Kain. Those were for me the two best storytelling achievements in gameplay. I mean in gaming until recently. There's a few other games that have come recently you can add to that, like Control and Alan Wake, and some of the newer Metal Gear, like Metal Gear Solid 4 has some decent storytelling. Not super great, but it has some decent one. The Batman games has some good storytelling, Spider-Man, you know, there's been other games since then, easily, but even Hi-Fi Rush has some pretty good storytelling, but up until recently, these were always the top of the cream for me, Silent Hill and Legacy of Kain. And I hope to play Legacy of Kain soon, or at least eventually. I really want to play those games. They're very fun to explore the story, and the lore, the depth of the lore in that series is very, very entertaining. But yeah, I just enjoy talking about these subjects because I don't have anyone else I can talk to about them here. It's pretty much only you guys and the Discord group. That's pretty much it. I don't dare go into forums or message board anymore because I know how insane they are and I know how crazy they are, and I don't want to take part in that anymore. I just don't have the patience for it. And Reddit is a whole other mess, so I don't go into there too often either, you know. I have my things that I look up in Reddit, but arguing about storytelling is not one of them. It is not advised to argue about story in Reddit. You'll very easily find yourself pulled into an argument. But yeah, it was fun to just play this game, reminisce about old memories, and go back and enjoy the game for what it is. My voice is starting to go, and I think this video is close to 4 hours long at this point, so I'm gonna end it here. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed Silent Hill 3. I hope you learned a lot, or at least something about the series and some other games I follow. I know some of that Control stuff came out of nowhere, but I've been playing the game heavily recently, and like I said, it really does have a fascinating lore that I think actually stands toe-to-toe with Silent Hill, so I just had to bring it up. And I do notice some similarities between this series and the stuff that Remedy is building. There are some shared aspects of them, you know, from common inspirations like Twin Peaks and Stephen King and stuff like that. So there is some connecting tissue between them. And I'm glad that even if the remake for 2 doesn't turn out well, I think it will, because it's not a hard game to modernize, but even if it doesn't turn out well and the series does go on ice again, I'm glad that at least some people have found inspiration for it from other video games and other TV series and stuff like that, and movies. I'm glad that it does still continue to inspire other artists with their work. So yeah, I will see you again next time on Silent Hill 4, which we'll do that in a while. I don't know when, but we'll do it eventually. Also got to finish Resident Evil 4, and then we'll also get started on Alan Wake. That should be a doozy, because I'm really looking forward to that game now that I've played through Control. That should be one fascinating run. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time on either one of those games. But like I said, I hope you enjoyed Silent Hill 3. It's a great game, and give it a try if you haven't played it yourself. So See you later, everyone. Take care.